Whiteley. I'm the Clinical Lead Ketogenic Dietitian at Royal Manchester Children's Hospital in the UK. There are a number of variations of the ketogenic diet, and your ketogenic team will help to advise on the most appropriate version, taking into consideration age, dietary intake, activity and daily routine, including likes and dislikes. All versions of the diet are high in fat and low in carbohydrate and will require a vitamin and mineral supplement. Each of the diets will require regular monitoring to assess tolerance, growth, general health, and to ensure that the diet is effective. The first two types of ketogenic diet are the classical ketogenic diet and the medium chain triglyceride diet. More recently, flexible forms of the diet, including the modified Atkins ketogenic diet and the low glycemic index treatment, have become available. Your ketogenic diet team may advise one of these or use principles from these to create an individualised diet plan called the modified ketogenic diet. The classical diet is based on ratios of fat to protein and carbohydrate. For example, the 4:1 ketogenic diet is 4 parts fat to 1 part protein and carbohydrate, which equates to approximately 90% fat and 10% combined protein and carbohydrate to provide all energy. Your ketogenic team will advise on the most appropriate ratio for your child and give information on grams of fat, protein and carbohydrate that are required each meal or snack in the day. It is carefully calculated, and it is important that all food items are weighed on a digital scale. Every meal and snack must be calculated in the correct ratio, and each element of the meal or snack must be eaten to ensure adequate ketosis. This includes a source of fat, MCT, which is derived from coconut and palm oil and is included in the diet as an oil or emulsion. MCT is metabolised quicker and produces more ketones per gram of fat. This means that less total fat is required each day and there is a greater allowance of protein and carbohydrate. Generally, 30 to 60% of energy will come from MCT through the day. The exact amount of MCT that you require will be advised by your ketogenic team. Often MCT is introduced slowly to avoid tummy upsets, and the tolerance will be monitored by your team. A source of MCT is required at each meal or snack, and although the diet allows greater flexibility, it is important, as with the classical diet, that each meal is carefully planned, calculated and weighed. The modified Atkins diet was developed in America and is based on the Atkins diet for weight reduction. It was designed to be more flexible and less restrictive than the classical and MCT forms of the ketogenic diet. Carbohydrate is very restricted at 10 grams per day initially, and this can then be increased to 15 to 20 grams after 1 to 3 months on the diet. You may be given a guide of approximately how much fat should be taken at each meal or through the day, and this is to ensure adequate ketosis and that growth is maintained. The modified Atkins diet is frequently used in older children and adolescents who may not cope with these restrictions of the classical and MCT diets. Protein is not limited, but large quantities are discouraged. Foods high in fat should be eaten liberally at each meal. You may be given a guide of how much fat to take at each meal or through the day to ensure adequate ketosis, but this may not be the case. Your team may also suggest that you use choices or exchanges to provide this diet. The modified ketogenic diet is similar to the modified Atkins diet with a more structured approach. It is restrictive but has a slightly more generous carbohydrate allowance of 20 to 30 grams per day, which is evenly spread over meals and snacks. Your ketogenic team will decide on the most appropriate carbohydrate allowance for the diet. This diet is designed to be more flexible, providing structure and guidance around food choices and portion sizes. This is often done using food choice or exchange lists, looking at carbohydrate and fat-based foods. These food choices or exchanges are typically weighed out in the first instance. There is also advice given around protein to avoid excessive intakes, and this advice will ensure that the macronutrient content of the diet is sufficient and that ketosis is optimum. This version of the ketogenic diet also takes into consideration the type of carbohydrate that is included in the diet and its effect on the blood glucose levels. All carbohydrates should have a glycemic index of less than 50, which is often whole grain and high fibre varieties of foods. A low glycemic index value means that the carbohydrate is slower to be digested and absorbed, avoiding a peak in blood glucose levels. Approximate portion sizes are used rather than weighing and measuring food items, and guidance is given on appropriate low glycemic index choices within the restriction of 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrate per day. This quantity, however, also includes the fibre that each food contains. The fibre is not counted on the other ketogenic diets. This means that the low glycemic index treatment is still restrictive on the amount of carbohydrate allowed within the diet. Again, protein is not limited, and fat is encouraged at each meal and snack throughout the day. As the ketogenic diet is new to you or your child, it may seem confusing, but hopefully with time and the help and support of your ketogenic diet team, this will become much easier.